and welcome to this edition of the Time with Hime podcast. I'm your host, Lynn Cordes, joined by...
And I'm your superintendent, Kevin Hime. Welcome to Time with Hime.
That's right. I am just glad to be back with you. Our students did amazing the last few weeks that I am just encouraged that I had to continue to bring on some wonderful students here on today's podcast.
Yes, we're excited about having students again. It's very exciting that we have students that want to get on the podcast. And it also helps me get to know some of the students. I talk about that a lot. One thing being at a large school, I don't get to build relationships with the students. And so today we've got 3 young ladies, and they got a lot of things going for them. So we're going to let them introduce themselves and tell us some great things about what they've accomplished. Because I've sat here and listened to a lot of it, and I'm very excited to hear it.
Hi, I'm Kelsey. I'm captain of the speech and debate team at MacArthur.
No. You've got some kind of accolades that we need to hear about.
And I'm also an academic All-American, and I won the District Student of the Year for the National Speech and Debate Association last year.
That's a lot.
It
Congratulations.
I'm Cadence Aplin, and I'm co-captain of the speech and debate team. I got 7th place at state last year, and I went to nationals, and we went undefeated in prelims for World Schools.
Awesome.
I'm Thalia Henry. I'm the speech individual captain. I got 2nd place at state in public forum debate this past year, and then I got 3rd place in poetry interpretation at state also. I got top 10% in both original spoken word poetry and impromptu speaking, and I'm the individual captain.
3 amazing young ladies on the podcast. You know, last week we had National Merit Scholars. Now we have ladies, they've got state and national honors themselves. So.
Well, and the reason we wanted to bring them on is because they're getting ready for their season opener this weekend, Friday and Saturday.
Season opener for what?
Speech and debate.
Speech and debate.
That's
Awesome.
Right.
So tell us, what is speech and debate?
It's kind of like an umbrella. So we have literature events, acting events, debate events. You can write speeches and perform them. Debate.
So what do you do with speech, Candace?
I do specifically debate. I don't really dip into speech events a lot, but I do Lincoln Douglas debate, which means that I debate alone without a partner.
Okay, and Thalia, did I say that right?
We're working
Yes,
on it.
I do, as I said before, I do poetry interpretation, and then I do speaking events. So I do an event called extemporaneous speaking, which is basically you get 30 minutes, you draw 5 topics, and then you pick one of the topics, then you write like a 5-6 minute speech, and then you go give it. So
And you guys, a lot of people don't know this, but speech and debate is part of OSSAA, the Oklahoma Secondary Schools Activity Association. So it is a school-sponsored activity that has state champions, regional champions, and all the way up the line. So tell us a little bit about your season. You start.
We start Friday, Saturday. We usually go to 4 competitions a semester.
So when is the state contest?
in April.
April. So, well, good luck to you guys. Anything else you want to mention?
Well, in Cadence, we were just talking about earlier that we have another school that's going to be participating as well,
yeah.
and how excited we are that it's going across all of our schools, right?
We're having Lawton High join us at the upcoming tournament in Moore, and we're just really, really excited to be encouraging other schools to join us in speech and debate. And we hope that like all of the schools in Lawton can have some kind of speech and debate program that's active.
And obviously it's really important because being able to speak in public, when you interview for a job, when you talk to a group of people, it just carries with you for the rest of your life. So it's very accomplished what you young ladies are doing and what you can do. So again, big shout out to y'all, and thanks for competing and representing Lawton Public Schools. So awesome.
It is. And before we continue on with our podcast, just give a little bit of encouragement to other students who are looking, especially our younger classmen, because you're juniors and seniors. What would you say to them if they thought about speech and debate, they heard something? What would you say if they're watching this today?
I think the main thing I would say is don't be afraid to step outside your comfort zone, because I think that was a big thing with me. I didn't think I could go and act out a poetry interp event, and then I went and did it, and I did pretty good. So I just think don't be afraid to step out your comfort zone and just use your imagination. It's awesome.
I wouldn't say that it's like a lot. I feel like people think of it as this like really, really difficult thing, and it seems really jarring from the outside, but it's really not as hard as it looks. And I feel like it's very rewarding, and it's a lot more fun than it looks sometimes from the outside.
Yeah, I always say that it's like people think it's like a soul-sucking event, but I really do. I really do enjoy doing it. I enjoy the hard work that we have to put in, and I think that it's really important to remember that it's not necessarily about winning, but it's about being able to try your best and know that you can improve as a person.
And what this shows from my seat is we always talk about providing opportunities. How many opportunities there are out there for our students to get involved and be successful? And that's what excites me, because every time we look up, there's another organization or another group that's having great successes statewide and nationwide with the things they're doing. So this is what I want our young people to see, is that they got, when we say get involved in extracurricular, being the old football coach, everybody always thinks be a football player or be a cheerleader or be in the band, that Friday night activity. But there's a lot of things outside of what goes on Friday night for our students to get involved in and have great successes. So, you young ladies are proving that. And so that's huge for our young middle school and elementary students to see.
And we are very excited about what this season's going to bring for you ladies. We know that your team's been working very hard. We're glad that you took time out of your school day to come and share with our community what's going on and what they can look forward to. Mr. Hime, anything else?
Nope, let's move on with this podcast and talk about the things going on at Lawton Public Schools. First of all, back to Friday nights, we got to give a shout out to MacArthur. They are the city champs in football this year. Had some really good crowds, some good games. Now we're moving on into district play, so we're excited to see what football season brings.
And speaking of that, with football comes homecoming, and that's going to start this week and next week.
Yeah, so I think it's Eisenhower is this
week.
Friday night, so that's exciting for them. Good luck on your homecoming. Good luck to all those involved in the homecoming activities. A lot of people coming back for the game, so that's exciting for the community of Lawton, for all that goes on with homecoming. And so the next few weeks, we're going to have a lot of homecoming activities throughout the community.
And thanks to our staff that are working from the check-in to the tickets and the concession, it's been wonderful to see everybody out and about.
Yeah, and we've increased the security because of events, but we don't feel like it. Most people, we've had 99% positive on the increased security. So big shout out to those who are working security and working our events for that.
And speaking of security, we have also the district notifications. We want to bring this up. It's something new for our families that have never come, to LPS or been a part of that. So we'd like to remind them what the district notification looks like and why we do certain things.
We had that event last Wednesday, knock on wood. The one thing as a superintendent you never want to have to do is make a decision after 5 o'clock in the morning. We have cooks already on the way to work. We have kids dressed. We have buses sometimes already running, and sometimes it's just difficult to stop that. But, at 6:30 last Wednesday, we got word that they didn't know when the power was going to come on. And so we had
and
to
that
make...
was a city thing. It started with one side of town and then was across the community.
And so here we had to make that tough call. And again, we feel like we made the right call because power was off and on throughout all of our schools throughout the day. And then some of our schools were out the full day. But what we want to make sure people understand is we sent out a notification Wednesday afternoon that said, we're going to have school tomorrow as normal. We'll let you know by 6 o'clock if any school doesn't have electricity. And I think people forget, because we get a few of those. Would have been great if we'd have got a announcement that we were having school. We never announce we're having school. We only announce when we're not having school. So I think that's something we got to make sure that everybody understands. Every now and then we might put it out the day before at 2 or 3 o'clock. Hey, everybody understand our plans are tomorrow we're going to have school. We'll do our best to let you know when we think there's a really good chance, because our inside information was telling us there was a great chance we were going to be able to have school district-wide on Thursday morning. So just to kind of knock down that confusion, because as you know, in Oklahoma, we were laughing about it in here before when he said snow. Somebody said snow, and it's like, well, in Oklahoma, I think last year we got an October snowstorm. I think we missed a day or two in school in October with the snowstorm. And man, we didn't even talk about it. The 1st September's gone almost.
It's all.
Is that not amazing? We're going to do this podcast next week, and it's going to be
fall break. It's coming up.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just going quick.
Next week we'll do the podcast, which it'll be on Tuesday next week because we got an event on Monday, and then we have fall break. That's amazing how fast it is. And just a reminder to our families about fall break. Fall break is a week. Yes. One thing we started doing because of the day in October that we call nationwide Columbus Day. Locally, we also use the term Indigenous People Day to celebrate that day. We take school off because a lot of federal holiday, and we had such a low attendance rate. is why Lawton Public Schools, and then you put that with the regular fall break, we started taking the week off, and our staff and our students and our families have seemed to really like that week off. So just a reminder, starting the 9th, we'll be out all week for fall break.
And we have parent-teacher conferences that are going on, different grade levels, and you can remind our families why we do that.
Yeah, we stagger those across the district because what we want to make sure of is if a family has an elementary, middle school, and a high school student, they're not trying to get to 3 parent-teacher conferences in the same day, that they get different days to go so it's not such a hassle if they get caught in line or a teacher got behind on a parent-teacher or whatever went on, they have that opportunity to just make sure they dedicate a full afternoon to their child, and do it. Because one thing we know in education is for us to be successful educationally, we have to be full partners with our parents and our guardians in our community. And how you do that is create more opportunities for our parents to be part of our day-to-day school activities.
And a lot of our staff are parents as well that had different grade levels. So
yes, and that helps a
them.
lot. So if the elementary have high school students, they don't have to leave their parent-teacher conference to go to their own parent-teacher conference. So hopefully it works out good. And so the big thing is our parents know that, so they watch their notes, they look at their child's school site, website, and so forth.
Well, and before we close out, just a reminder that this week we're going to have our second continuous PD for our staff across the district.
Yes, that comes up August the 4th. October, excuse me.
Don't go back. Don't go
October
back.
4th. And so our teacher and staff need to look at that. The first one went really well. It's here at the LRC. We're excited about that. And so before we close out, don't forget our webpage, lawtonps.org. And don't forget, if you have any questions or ideas of people on the podcast, or you can go to info@lawtonps.org. Email us, ask us questions. We'll bring it up on the podcast. If you got events that we should be announcing or things you would like for us to celebrate on the podcast.
And we can't wait to see what our students are doing for National Hispanic Heritage Month.
Yes.
Because we are in National Hispanic Heritage Month right now.
Yes.
So that's been great. And there's a lot of things. And so as you can see, our young ladies did reach out to INFO at Lawton PS to ask about being on the podcast, and they're here.
Yep. So again, thanks to Kelsey, Candace, and Thalia.
Cadence.
I'm sorry. See, names just
tried.
get me. I tried. I got 2 out of 3, but I got Thalia right. That's the tough one.
All
I
right.
started to call her Miss Henry. That would have been easier.
You get called that a lot, Ms. Henry.
Yeah.
It's okay. Well, we're very thankful for the ladies to have joined us. Mr. Hime, thank you so much for your time. As always, we appreciate you guys tuning in. If you haven't already liked and subscribed to our YouTube and social media pages, please do that. But until next week, Tuesday, right?
Yes,
We'll be back.
Tuesday.
You guys be well, stay safe, make positive impacts, and the young ladies are going to help us say goodbye until next week.